Hello, hello, my friends. It is already the middle of October. Yes, I said that correctly. I don't know if you're like me, but I was telling one of my kids the other day that I feel like this time of year from October until December just seems to go by at an extra fast speed. I don't know. You guys comment down below if you feel that way. I was just telling her, I was like, I feel like I'm going to blink and it's going to be Christmas morning. But regardless of how I feel, it just is what it is. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 10 candles that I've already finished burning throughout the first half of this month. I do like to try to split my empties video into a two-part series, one mid-month, one at the end of the month for all of you, because we all know that I like to talk a lot. I feel like empties videos are some of the best ones in terms of a review because I can share with you how a candle performed from start to finish, give you any kind of updates if I experience some different things, which I did on a couple of these candles, and also let you know if I would consider repurchasing them. So as always, all of the candles that I'm talking about today will be listed and linked down below with any affiliate codes, as well as with if I did do a dedicated post-burn review, which I typically do that around the halfway burn point, those will be linked down there for you as well. So don't forget to hit thumbs up if you like this video. Consider subscribing to my channel if you're new, but let's go ahead and dive into these empties. I'm going to go ahead and start out with Pumpkin Vanilla Creme from Bath & Body Works. Now, I loved this fragrance. I believe that this is a repackage of Pumpkin Pie. Fragrance notes on here are creamy pumpkin, vanilla creme, fresh ground nutmeg, and graham cracker crust. And you can see here that, you know, it burned pretty well all the way down. It wasn't a super dirty burn. I will say it got a little bit dirty towards the end there. However, here's a weird thing. I did catch a couple of bugs. You guys know that I do tend to, once I'm on like a final burn of a candle, I don't feel like the strength and throw is as great. And so sometimes I'll just finish it off outside on my back porch. We have like a little dining table out there, like an outdoor entertainment. And we are finally starting to cool off just slightly here in Arizona. So we are enjoying some more outdoor time. But getting back to this candle, here's the thing. I loved this fragrance about until I got, I would say 3/4 of the way through on the burn of this. Then I don't know what happened. You guys can comment down below if you've had this experience. I felt like the fragrance changed on the last quarter of the burn. It smelled kind of, there was something about it that came across a little bit like sour or almost vinegary to me. I know that sounds crazy, but for whatever reason, it just was not smelling the same to me. Now, it was still quite potent and powerful. This candle was a good performer for me up until that point. And the strength and throw was good on it. I would say it was a good, like, solid 8 for me, strength and throw. But I don't know what it was. I felt like the end of this, the burn life on this candle, something in the fragrance oils, like, were not blending well. And I didn't particularly love it, which is why I did end up going in and exchanging. I had bought a backup of this candle. It was an online exclusive from Bath & Body Works, but last week I did take in the other one that I had of this. I hadn't burned it yet, and I did go ahead and exchange it for some of my Christmas candles. If you caught my early October candle chat, you guys know that I included a little bit of a haul in there, and I did share with you the candles that I did exchange that I did do an exchange for. But yeah, this one, I think that I would repurchase this fragrance again next year. Maybe it'll be a little bit different all the way through, but that is why I did end up going in and exchanging it. But it did perform well for me, like I said, up until that final little burn here. I think I don't want to hear the like scraping noise of me putting these back in the carton. So I'm going to try to lessen that for all of you guys. All right, another Bath & Body Works candle is my beloved Palo Santo Vanilla. I did finally finish off one of these. I did have it almost, I feel like I had like maybe 1/4 of wax left in this candle from earlier in the summer. Fragrance notes on this one are Palo Santo, Woody Musk, Tonka Bean. Now, if you caught my declutter video, you guys know that I did end up actually gifting 2 of these to 2 of my good friends who put in some time and effort to throw me a 40th birthday party a couple of weeks ago. So I do still have one of these candles in my backup stash because this is one of my favorite fragrances. I love this one. It's earthy. It's kind of smoky. I get the vanilla mixed with that Palo Santo note. I really, really like it. I feel like it's a great year-round fragrance, although it's funny because when I was burning it the other night, I think it's because my daughter knows that I burn this one a lot in the summertime. She's like, that's more of a summer fragrance to me. And I said, I think it's because I burn it in the summertime. And she's like, yeah, probably. That's why I correlate it with that. But this is a great fragrance that blends with a lot of other candles this time of year. You could probably blend it with kind of like your more generic basic pumpkin scent, or maybe even a tree fragrance if you're wanting to carry this scent into the fall and holiday season. But I still have one more in my backup collection, and I definitely will be purchasing this fragrance again if it comes back to Bath & Body Works next year. Let's go ahead and talk about a Kringle 3-wick that I finished burning. And this, I so wish that they would bring this fragrance back. This is from the 2023 Halloween collection when they put out some of these painted 3-wicks. And this was called Pumpkin Smash. Fragrance notes on Pumpkin Smash were white pumpkin seeds, pumpkin puree, lemon, brown sugar, cinnamon sticks, nutmeg shavings, maple butter, toffee, vanilla extract. This was a great like white pumpkin type of fragrance. I think it's probably the best pumpkin gourmand fragrance that Kringle has put out. Besides, Great Pumpkin is probably still, I feel like this fragrance and Great Pumpkin are like tied for my favorite pumpkin fragrances that Kringle has done. It's creamy, it's slightly spicy, but not overly like cinnamon spice. It's definitely more of like a nutmeg I smell in here. But the toffee, is there a toffee note in here? Not toffee. Yeah, there's toffee. Toffee, maple butter. It's not too heavy. You guys know that I have talked about with Kringle, sometimes the way that they do toffee or butter and brown sugar mixed together, it can come across a little bit burned to my nose, but it didn't do that. I felt like this is the sweeter cousin. If you like the salted maple pumpkin candle, this from this year's 2024 launch, I think that you would like this one, but this is kind of like its sweeter cousin. Maybe sweeter sibling, to be honest with you. And it's funny because that fragrance I did end up decluttering, but I love this one, and I wish that they would bring this fragrance back because this is a really, really good scent. Another Bath & Body Works candle that I did finish burning is Cuddle Weather. This was also an online exclusive. Fragrance notes of warm gingerbread tea, cinnamon shortbread, and a cozy blanket. Now this one, you guys will see in all of these, all the bugs that I catch, because when I do finish burning these outside, sometimes I just let them burn, and sometimes that goes into the evening, and of course then it attracts bugs. But again, this was another solid performer for me most of the way down. I will say that when I had about a third of the wax left, I did notice that the burn started to slow down. And anytime with Bath & Body Works, or most of the time when I get those slow burns on Bath & Body Works candles, sometimes it can alter the fragrance of the candle. And I did notice that a little bit on this one. I did start to just notice a little bit of that like kind of sooty burn smell, even though there's no soot around the rim, which is good. It started to alter the fragrance a little bit, which is why I then decided to go ahead and put it outside. And it is also another reason why, well, one of the reasons why I ended up returning the backup that I bought for this one. I did buy a backup. I took it in and exchanged it last week, like I was just talking about with that pumpkin vanilla creme, is because there is another fragrance that is kind of similar to this. They're different, but in the same vein, and I think I'm enjoying it a little bit more. I'm really loving the new Kringle Holiday, their Frosted Spice. I've been loving that candle a little bit more with the candles that I was burning Cuddle Weather with which have been Kittens and Cashmere, Sweater Weather, any kind of like Palo Santo spruce from HOMEWORX. So I felt like I didn't need another one of these in my collection. This fragrance to me is also really similar to HOMEWORX' Cinnamon Sugar Marshmallow. So if you like this fragrance, but maybe you're not a fan of Bath & Body Works, maybe you're a fan of HOMEWORX, then I feel like they are some similar fragrances. While we're talking about HOMEWORX, let me go ahead and talk about a couple of HOMEWORX candles that I finished burning. I did finish burning Autum Vineyard. This candle was sent to me in PR from, not Kringle, HOMEWORX. Fragrance notes on here are sparkling wine, fragrant orange, autumn leaves, golden amber. This had a pour date of May 7th, 2024. And this one also, I liked this fragrance. It definitely is not a grape fragrance. If you are hoping for this to be like a grape scent, no. It's kind of like a musky, it's a vineyard fragrance, but it's not necessarily grape. There's the amber note in here. It kind of reminds me of a Yankee scent that I had a long, long time ago, and I cannot think of what the name is off the top of my head. And we're talking like 15 years ago, long ago. It's very nice though. It paired really nicely with Kringle Candle's Merlot, their reserve candle. I liked it, and the visual was really pretty. Good strength and throw all the way down on this one. It was a solid performer. Not going to be a repurchase for me just simply because of the fragrance in and of itself. It wasn't, I liked it enough to burn it all the way through, but it wasn't one that I was just absolutely crazy for. A fragrance that I am crazy for is Pumpkin Cold Brew from HOMEWORX. Spoiler alert, I did purchase another one of these. Fragrance notes here of sweet pumpkin, espresso, toffee, and vanilla cream. This also has a pour date of May 7th, 2024. You can see this one burned. Now it's funny, some of my HOMEWORX candles burn clean all the way down to like the bottom of the vessel, and other times they leave a little bit of wax residue in there before they burn out. I'm not really too picky about that, but this one did burn pretty cleanly. Now you are seeing a little bit of wax here, and that is because I feel like I trimmed the wicks a little bit too short on, I would say when I had about like a quarter of the wax left in this vessel. And I do think that that contributed to some puny wicks. And so I did have to pour out a little bit of wax to try to get those to adjust. They never really did. So I'm going to see, you know, like I said, I did repurchase this candle. I have started to burn it, but I'm still like pretty much full. I think I've only burned it once or twice now because I'm trying to burn a lot of other fragrances for review purposes. But I love this scent. It is, I'm not a coffee person, so I like, if there is like a coffee note in here, like an espresso note, it's not overly acidic and it doesn't scream coffee to me. I do get that like pumpkin spice accord in here, as well as maybe like some richness of a toffee. It's just, there's a fragrance that my mom used to burn way back in like the early 2000s, I would say, that this reminds me of. Most likely it was a Yankee fragrance. Again, I can't tell you what it was, but I really, really enjoyed this scent. And like I said, I did repurchase it, and I would highly recommend this fragrance for all of you. It's probably one of my favorite. This one and the Haunted Apple Nights were probably my favorite fragrances from in terms of like new releases from HOMEWORX this fall. Another HOMEWORX candle that I did finish burning is Spiced Vanilla Pumpkin. I did burn this one primarily alongside the Pumpkin Cold Brew. If you've been with my channel, you guys know that I do tend to burn 2, sometimes 3 candles at a time in various points throughout my house. Fragrance notes on this one were pumpkin, warm caramel, vanilla bean, and ginger. This had a pour date of March 14th, 2024. And this one, again, was another solid burner. I would actually consider repurchasing this candle next year. It's one of those fragrances that I don't feel like I need multiples of it in one season, but I do like the fragrance enough. When I did a dedicated review on this, a lot of people said that this was a fragrance that they burn year in, year out from HOMEWORX. It's one of your favorites. The packaging was beautiful. It's a very, it's kind of like a spiced vanilla pumpkin. It's kind of it's a white pumpkin scent, but it's not as creamy as that one that I was talking about from KRINGLE, that pumpkin smash. This is not as creamy of a white pumpkin. There's definitely some spice to it, some sweetness to it. Caramel, I think we all know Harry likes caramel, and I do detect a little bit of that in there, as well as the ginger. But I did do a post-burn review on this candle. So like I said, all of the candles that I did do post-burns on, this one performed quite well for me as well, all the way down. I can't remember what I gave it in my post-burn review, but I do remember this being about a 7 in terms of strength and throw for me. It was a pretty solid performer. And then I have 2 more KRINGLE candles, I should say, that I finished burning. This is Leaf Peeper, which is one of my favorites from KRINGLE. It is a candle that I will purchase year in, year out from KRINGLE. This one doesn't have the fragrance notes on it, but just to kind of boil it down here, this is KRINGLE's version of Bath & Body Works Leaves. Very, very similar fragrance notes, very similar to my nose. I feel like it's not as headache-inducing or maybe as strong as Bath & Body Works version of Leaves. Although, truthfully, Bath & Body Works, they've kind of had diminished performance for me in terms of strength and throw this year too. So I don't know. But this one, I would give this candle was about like a 6 for me. I did tend to burn it in a bedroom as a complimentary fragrance to Haunted Apple Nights or HOMEWORX's Autumn Pumpkin. That's kind of like my go-to favorite combo. I do also like burning this candle with KRINGLE's Autumn Amber, which you guys have heard, or if you've seen my dedicated review, I feel like that is a good dupe if you like Bath & Body Works Autumn, which did not make a return this year. Autumn Amber is a wonderful fragrance to pair with it. Again, burned pretty cleanly all the way down. You see some of the soy wax residue there, but I did catch one little bug on this one on the very last burn, but definitely would be a repurchase. And then another candle that I hope they bring back next year for the Halloween collection, because thankfully I was able to get my hands on 2 backups of this fragrance prior to it selling out. This is the Halloween Skull and Sonnet. We have fragrance notes here of bourbon, tobacco, sandalwood, suede, amber, and oak. And I never got around to doing a post-burn review on this one because it sold out before I got to the halfway point. And I thought, well, I don't really want to do a dedicated review on this one right now if it's sold out. What I will do is, because I have 2 backups of it, if this candle returns next Halloween season, then I will do a post-burn review on my channel then. But here's the thing with this candle. The first few, this is one of the Kringle candles, which I know that there has been a lot of chatter in the Kringle Facebook group. Kringle, for whatever reason, I have kind of found this to be true, I would say, over the last year. I feel like in this soy wax formula, you hit pockets where you get more fragrance than at different points in the vessel. There's a little bit more variety with it than I would find sometimes in other candle brands. Now, that being said, HOMEWORX has their little quirks. So does Bath & Body Works. I just talked about it, like towards the end, I noticed changes in the fragrance or the burn changes. Same with HOMEWORX. Sometimes I feel like they take a couple of burns to really come into the fullness of what they are. And this candle, kind of in the same vein. So the first, I would say like the first third of this candle's life, it was around like a strength and throw of around like a 5. I was kind of like, ooh, I want this to be more. I pretty much limited it to a bedroom. Then I would say like from like this point to about the halfway mark, I suddenly started to notice, I was like, wow, this has really gone down in strength and throw. It was maybe like around a 3. I was like, no, like by that point I had already bought 2 backups and I was like, darn it. Like, and by the way, you guys, the Halloween stuff I purchased myself from Kringle, even though I am a brand ambassador. I personally opted out of receiving PR for that collection. So I was kind of like, oh man, so now here I've spent like almost $100 on these 3 vessels. And I thought, gosh, like it wasn't scented. Then I hit the halfway mark and this suddenly almost started blowing me out of the master bedroom when I had it in there. I would say it was about like a 7.5, 8. So I don't know what went on with the settling of the oils. Now this fragrance, you guys know that I love it. I feel like it's very similar to one of my favorite perfumes, which was made by Replica, Maison Margiela Replica. It's a discontinued fragrance called Whispers in the Library. It smells like that old world academia. You get the wood, you get some tobacco in there. It's slightly smoky, but not like overtly like you're sitting in front of a campfire smoky. You get some amber in there. It's kind of perfumey. Very oak is in here as well. I really enjoy pairing this candle with Kringle's Smoke and Oak as well as their Thirst fragrance. It just gives like, it's a whole vibe. So I do have 2 more of these. I hope it makes a return next year because I feel like it was probably my favorite fragrance. Well, that one and the Haunted Hallows were probably my favorite fragrances from their Halloween launch. Another candle that I finished burning from Bath & Body Works is Pumpkin Pecan Waffles. This is actually the first year that I bought Pumpkin Pecan Waffles. In years past, there's always been something about the fragrance that I found to be a little bit cloying and too much for me. We all know what Pumpkin Pecan Waffles smells like. Maple syrup, golden waffles, pumpkin spice, and brown sugar. This one burned well all the way down for me. My family loves this fragrance. I didn't, I'm being very intentional with my candle collection, which is why you actually won't see like a Bath & Body Works glitch haul from me. I abstained from the fall sale with the extra 25% off just because you guys know I'm really trying to be mindful about space. And as a reviewer, as much as there are fragrances that I like to burn repetitively, I do always have to keep room in my collection and in my storage for all of the new stuff. So, but this is definitely a fragrance that I've concluded I would repurchase again. My family did like it. And this year's version was very strong for me. This was a good solid 8 in terms of strength and throw all the way down, burned very cleanly. Maybe I'm kicking myself. Maybe I should have bought a backup of that now that I'm thinking about it. But Oh well. And then the last fragrance that I finished burning was Pumpkin S'mores. This is the last candle that I did initially purchase a backup of, but I did go ahead and take it in last week and exchange it for some of the holiday fragrances that have come out. Roasted marshmallow, melted chocolate, pumpkin, graham cracker. It's funny, this fragrance does initially when I was burning this candle, I wasn't getting a whole lot of the chocolate note in it, but the more that I burned it, I felt like that chocolate note came out a little bit more. And personally, you guys, I'm not a huge, I'm not against chocolate fragrances, but they're not like a huge love or a must for me. And so for me, I felt like I like this one, but I don't feel like I need backups of it, which is why I did go ahead and exchange it. Now, that being said, this candle did burn quite cleanly for me all the way down. I didn't have any issues with the wicks. This is one of the few candles from the fall lineup that the wicks did not get puny or dead out on me. I had solid flames on this candle all the way through. So, yeah, it was a good one. I would recommend this candle if you like it on cold sniff. If it's still on sale and you want backups of it, go ahead and purchase it. But like I said, because I already have a lot of candles in my collection, I just didn't feel like I needed to go through that fragrance again. So those are the 10 candles that I have finished burning so far. I'm hoping to have more empties in my collection, or in my empties bin, I guess, in the trash, I don't know, by the end of this month. Feel free to chime in down below if you have finished burning any of these candles or if any of these are your favorites. I do always encourage you to share your burn experiences with a lot of candles because I am just one voice in our community. I am going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Again, please hit thumbs up if you enjoyed it. YouTube should be suggesting another video for you here at the end of this one. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.